have any hobbies?
I've got 3 children, but my hobbies kind of centre around them now. And then what I really love to do is to read books. I love to read and I love to get out for a walk, even on my own, with listening to a book on Audible or listening to a podcast. There's loads of lovely places to walk around here.
What's your favourite book?
Oh, that's a really good question. This probably sounds a bit silly, but probably the Harry Potter books, because I was about 20, and even when I was that age, I loved to read them, and every time the new one came out, I would nearly stay awake all night reading it over 2 or 3 days because I just couldn't put it down.
Is it difficult to be a mother and a CEO?
Do you know what? That's a great question, Louisa. And loads of people ask that question. And I don't think it's any more difficult than it is to be a dad and a CEO. Like, it's busy, but I'm really lucky to have such a busy life, you know, to have 3 kids, to have great fun with a family, to have a job that I love.
What's your favourite animal?
This probably might surprise you a little bit. Actually, I love cows. Yeah, I grew up on a farm in the countryside. I just think the cows are lovely animals. They're gentle and they're intelligent. I'd love to get a really big picture of like a colourful face of a cow, you know, to have in the house.
Do animals ever get in the way when you're building wind farms?
That's a brilliant question, Thierry. And what happens is we would spend a long time, like years, doing studies of the land in which the wind farm is to be built and the environment. So like what animals live there, what birds would fly over that area, even down to, you know, to much smaller animals like bats, and if there are particular insects even. And then over a really long period of time, the environmental people that I work with would study the patterns of all of that wildlife and then would carefully plan the wind farm so that it doesn't interfere with any of the animals around it.
What do you do as CEO in the office?
It's like organising, it's working with people, it's motivating people, it's like reminding everyone as to why we do what we do and what our mission is.
What job did you want to do when you were young?
I had many different ideas of things that I'd like to do. I used to think that I'd like to be an airline pilot because I didn't know that there were any women who were airline pilots, and I thought that they were all men, and I thought it would be really cool then to be a woman who was an airline pilot. Because I grew up on a farm, I used to think sometimes it'd be quite nice to be a vet.
Do wind farms out on the sea work better than wind farms inland or not?
Yeah, we're seeing more and more wind farms out at sea, Leo. And the advantages to the wind farms being out at sea is that they can be so much bigger than what you can do on land. So you can build much greater wind farms with much bigger wind turbines and much longer blades. The wind speeds are greater out at sea than they would be at land. They've learned so much to figure out how to install the wind farms and work in the deep waters. It's really amazing. So we're definitely going to see a huge amount more.
How do windmills on the sea work? Do they float or do they get attached to the bottom of the sea?
Yeah, thanks, Ella. There are 2 different types of wind farms at sea. There's both, to answer your question. So for wind farms that are in waters that are not that deep, the turbine is built on a fixed foundation that goes down into the seabed. Now we're seeing floating foundations being built, which means really that then a wind farm can be built in the absolute deepest of waters. So it's really quite amazing.
How long does a wind turbine last?
Yeah, thanks, Chloe. When we're building them, we plan it on the basis of it being for 30 years. But really, in reality, like they can last an awful lot longer with more maintenance as it gets older.
But then what happens to these wind turbines when they finish the use of them?
Well, what's happening a lot at the moment is what people call repowering. So in some cases that means like replacing some of the equipment or putting on better blades to prolong the life. And we're a sustainable industry. And so a lot of efforts then are going into how to recycle the turbines and how to ensure that they do have a very long life.
Why were you interested by this job and not a different job?
It's so much easier to, be really energized and be able to put so much into your work when it's really something that you believe in. It's just an area that I always was interested in, and now especially being part of the industry, and it's an amazing place to be, and we can make a big difference.
Which countries are you building wind farms in right now?
Right now we are building wind farms in South Africa and in Chile.
Have you ever learned to do a TikTok dance?
No, I haven't. If you know any TikTok dances, do you want to show me one? I know the kids have been showing me some moves, but I really am not very good. You go.
Okay. I know one. I won't dance the way it's like that.
Oh, cool. That's brilliant. Okay, I'll have to get some. Yeah, we'll all clap. I'll have to get some lessons from my kids.
Is it possible to store renewable energy?
Oh, thanks, Louisa. Yeah, it's possible to store renewable energy now through these enormous batteries. We're seeing that already, and there's definitely going to be an awful lot more of that, and that's really exciting. I'm sure you're seeing more electric cars on the road, so it's the same technology.
How did the quarantine and the coronavirus crisis affect the business?
I think a big thing that we have seen is that the world can respond to this crisis, and renewable energy is an industry that is really sustainable, and the world needs our energy. So it hasn't been as impacted as lots of other sectors have been.
I kind of want to be an engineer later. I was just wondering about how complicated, or just how kind of being an engineer working on wind farms or solar farms is like.
That's a super question. Like, I work with lots of engineers, and I have to say they're brilliant. You work hard at it, you can absolutely do whatever it is that you want to do. I work with brilliant people. I learn so much from them every day. I think it's a really exciting job and area to study and to work at.
Do you think you and your team are working hard to stop climate change?
Yep, that is what we just work so hard at every single day. It's to slow down climate change. It's to stop burning fossil fuels to produce electricity, and to build and provide a better energy system. My kids they're 8, 7 and 4, like I said at the start, and what really motivates me every day is to build a better world for them, and for them not to have the worry of climate change, because kids your age shouldn't have to. That's 100% why we do what we do, and why we're so happy to work so hard at doing it every day.
Me and my sister, we just like to show you something that we made quite a long time ago, but we still so it's basically a Lego wind turbine that actually and then it actually turns.
Wow. Oh, brilliant. Thanks so much, Leo and Ella. That's really funny that you showed me that, because last Christmas, my husband asked me, what would you like for Christmas? And I said, I would love the Lego wind turbine. And he kind of thought I was joking, and he didn't get it for me. And so this year, I know Christmas is still a long way away, but just the other day, I sent him a WhatsApp message saying, remember how I wanted this last Christmas? I still want to get one this Christmas. Everyone, Chloe, Thierry, Leo, Ella, Lydia, Louisa, it was brilliant to meet you, I have to say. I've really enjoyed chatting to you all, and you had tons of questions, which is so good. So thanks so much. You were obviously really well prepared and had loads of things to ask. Great to meet you all. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.
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 Bye.